Dear viewers, welcome to another Cryptoverse weekly report. The euphoria in the crypto market continues. Bitcoin is breaking price records day after day, with jumps that few dared to predict. With a current high of over $93,000, BTC has risen by a whopping 20K in just 7 days, overtaking silver's market cap to become the world's 7th most valuable asset. So has the time come for a more serious correction or at least consolidation? It is possible. Such a steep upward trajectory has to stop once, investors have to take profits, and the market has to cool down. Bitcoin therefore experienced a slight pullback, but the break should, by all accounts, be short-lived because the fundamentals are strong. The political climate around crypto has never been better, especially in the US. And in any case, there is no shortage of demand for BTC. Accordingly, there is no shortage of optimistic price forecasts. And today, among other things, we bring you profit-taking, miners sell-off, and Jerome Powell have pushed Bitcoin into a mild correction. The pullback should be short-term, as historical data shows that BTC in November is up 45% on average, but is currently up only 27%. When will the cycle peak and at what BTC price? We bring you some estimates. Memes, led by Peanut the Squirrel, are the winners of the week again. Let's start the report. As expected, Bitcoin's rise to the latest all-time high, above $93,400, caused general excitement. But nothing grows forever, including BTC. Of course, in general, the price trend should be upward for months to come, but there will certainly be volatility. Pullbacks are an integral part of bull markets and simply clearing the market before new growth. And for this last mini-correction, the most deserving, according to all appearances, is Jerome Powell. After several days of strong growth, practically immediately following the US election results on November 6th, Bitcoin slipped from its current peak of over $93,000 towards $87K amid profit-taking, a much-anticipated market reaction. So such price action is not too worrisome because usually investors tend to take their profits when Bitcoin sets new all-time highs. And Bitcoin has jumped over 30% since Donald Trump was elected as the new US president. In the last 3 days, investors cashed in $15 billion, according to Glassnode data, and miners also dumped their Bitcoins on the market. Wednesday saw a massive outflow of 25,000 Bitcoins by miners as the price of BTC hit new highs. Such moves are quite common, but they still put pressure on the price and prolong the reaching of the milestone of $100,000 per Bitcoin, which is almost certainly coming. This already not overly strong decline would probably have been milder had it not been for the speech of the head of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, in which he dampened hopes for faster interest rate cuts. The economy is not sending any signals that we need to rush to lower rates, Powell said. The reason, of course, is the resurgence of inflation in the US. Namely, the CPI inflation, which observes consumer prices, was 2.6% last month, which is the first increase in the last 8 months. Despite these signals from the head of the US Monetary Authority, the markets still expect an interest rate cut at the next meeting of the Fed's Open Market Committee, or FOMC, with more than 60%. Admittedly, it should be said that just 1 day before Powell's speech, market participants rated interest rate cuts with 83% chances. The mild panic on the market is quite understandable. A halt in interest rate cuts could make traditional assets like bonds seem more attractive to investors than riskier assets like cryptocurrencies. Additionally, any lowering of interest rates makes capital cheaper and drains liquidity into the system. However, despite the slight correction, extreme greed still reigns in the market, and investors are eager to jump into crypto, whose most explosive phase of the bull run, judging by the previous cycles, has just begun. As early as this month, Bitcoin should still grow at double-digit rates, and if it does, it would catapult the price above 100K. And only then does the real euphoria follow. Namely, the average growth for November is 45%, and BTC has so far only grown 27% this month. And how quickly Bitcoin could go from the current $90-ish thousand to the desired $100,000 is also shown by the fact that on Monday, when it exceeded $88,000, the leading crypto recorded its best daily gain in history, jumping over $8,400 in a single day. It should also be mentioned that during the whole of last weekend, there was wild buying and pumping of the price of BTC, which is a very positive signal because it shows that retail is probably returning to the crypto arena. Specifically, weekend pumps are generally considered an indicator of a bullish trend in the crypto market because the trading volume during the weekend usually decreases, as many institutional investors and professional traders are less active, and as the exchanges where ETFs are traded are closed. And those ETFs, specifically spot BTC ETFs, which since their launch in January of this year have been the main engine of Bitcoin price growth and consequently the entire crypto market, on Thursday, after 6 consecutive days of inflows, recorded a net outflow of $400 million. This is the third largest outflow since the launch, but it should also be seen from the positive side, because the remaining 2 times when the minus was greater than 400 million marked the local bottom of the price. If this is indeed the case, BTC should no longer go significantly below $90,000 in its upcoming corrections. But how long will the cycle last before Bitcoin peaks? How many more beautiful months are ahead of us? According to pseudonymous crypto analyst and trader Rekt Capital, BTC has a little over 40 weeks to go before peaking, based on historical movements. We are again in a parabolic phase, which is just at the beginning. Judging by the previous cycles, it is a rather extensive phase that lasts a long time, and something we could expect is the next 300 days of growth, says Rekt. This therefore brings us to the peak of the bull market between the middle of September and October of next year. That growth has actually just begun. Also, thinks VanEck's head of digital asset research, Matthew Siegel, who revealed to CNBC that his company, which is behind one of the ETFs, is receiving a significant number of calls from investment advisors who want exposure to Bitcoin or want to increase the allocation. And this trend will only get stronger, Siegel believes. In this context, it should also be said that Goldman Sachs, one of the largest global investment banks, which, by the way, once criticized BTC, revealed this week its considerable holdings in ETFs. In a quarterly filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, Goldman Sachs reported approximately $718 million in holdings in 8 ETFs, an increase of as much as 71% over the previous quarter. Let us get back to Siegel. VanEck's leading digital asset man estimated that the leading crypto should jump to 180K in the next 2 quarters. So, Siegel sees this cycle as somewhat shorter than Rekt Capital. Siegel's boss, John VanEck, predicts that the price of Bitcoin could even reach $300,000. On the other hand, if you ask Michael Saylor, co-founder of MicroStrategy, the largest corporate owner of BTC, only the sky is the limit. By the end of the year, Saylor expects Bitcoin to jump over that psychologically important limit of $100,000, and if the US under Trump would really start to create strategic national reserves of Bitcoin, that would increase the price exponentially. The leader of MicroStrategy believes that the creation of reserves of 1 million BTC in the next 5 years could reduce the national debt of the USA by as much as 45%. That is, by an incredible $16 trillion, and this calculation pushes Bitcoin to as much as $1,600,000. While the idea that the United States should build up Bitcoin reserves is currently just that, an idea and not a concrete plan, Michael Saylor believes the proposal not only should, but definitely will happen. These are incredible prices that are being mentioned in the midst of the current euphoria. Of course, no one really knows how much the growth will actually be, and there are no exact models to determine this, but it should be an undeniable fact that good times are yet to come for crypto. We will see what happens in January, but the new Trump administration is reportedly preparing to implement a relaxed regulatory approach to cryptocurrencies with the aim of positioning the United States as a leader in the crypto space, and that will primarily benefit alts. Namely, altcoins are still floating in the gray zone, a kind of regulatory limbo that the new administration should end. The much-needed legal clarity for the U.S. crypto industry seems to be finally arriving, and the hated head of the Regulatory Securities and Exchange Commission, Gary Gensler, is already being seen as a former one. After all, Trump himself promised his dismissal, and that may not even be necessary, as Gensler is reportedly preparing to quit in the coming days. As for the performance of alts this week, it is mostly positive and follows the movements of Bitcoin. If we look at the top 10, Doge leads the way in weekly gains with more than 80% plus. The reason is, of course, Elon Musk. It is followed by XRP, which jumped 20% today alone, while the growth on a weekly level is about 60%, probably on the wings of the rumors that Gensler is leaving soon. ADA is once again one of the top winners, which will certainly please its large community that has been waiting for a move for a long time after Cardano trotted behind the competition for months and fell out of the top 10 cryptocurrencies. Meanwhile, Ether and Sol recorded minimal gains of 3% and BNB of 1%, respectively. As for the biggest winners in the top 100, of course, memes prevail. And yes, even if you don't believe it, it's true that a meme called Peanut the Squirrel grew by an astonishing 1,500% in just 7 days. And why? Well, because Elon Musk once again turned to his favorite toy, Twitter, or X, and this time tweeted not about Doge, but about the aforementioned Squirrel. This is only possible in crypto. Pepe, Musk's Doge, Brett and Bonk also follow in the list of winners. And so, with meme coins, we've come to the end of another Cryptoverse weekly report. If you liked the video, please give it a like, leave a comment, and we would also greatly appreciate if you click subscribe. Thank you for following, and kind regards.